What is up, everybody? Welcome to Pub Sports Radio. This is the Draftkings picks and prediction show for UFC Vegas 75. We have Marvin Vettori going against Cannonier. We have a 14-fight slate to go through tonight. I am here, as always, with Uncle Weezy. We got Monk. We got Gordo in the building. We'll kick it to you first, Weezy. Weezy, what is up? Are you looking forward to UFC Vegas 75?
I really am. There's 14 fights. I've got a lot of action on this card, and from a DraftKings perspective, I came up with like 8 lineups. I could go so many different directions. I've got my notes ready. I'm going to go in one particular direction for this show, but I hope that we can touch on, a lot of these fights because this is a really interesting card to break down from a DraftKings perspective.
Absolutely. Monk, what is up? Are you looking forward to the card today?
What's up, boys? Absolutely. 14 fights. A lot of work going into this week, but we've got some interesting matchups for sure. Some good DK fights as well. Some super slop fest fights, which we love for DraftKings. We love to get those surprises in there. Like the Amen Zahabi last week was a total surprise. So also, just a side note, Scorigami last week. First time since I've been tracking that 48,700 wasn't optimal. So 4 underdogs on the optimal lineup. Let's see what happens this week.
Let's see if we can do it again. We got Gordo in the building. Gordo, what is up? You looking forward to UFC Vegas 75?
I very much am. Like you guys said, some very, very fun fights everywhere across these 14-fight slate. But let me take a second to say, Canada, guys, a very fun card last weekend. They did well, 6 winners there. Well, 5.5 we count Belbita, but I was happy to see that happen. I think it was a great card, and I'm looking forward to backing it up with what seems to be a very exciting card with this one. A lot of first-round finishers, and one that I think is really primed for a good drafting slate.
Absolutely. I think it should be a good one. We should get some good scores here. 14 fights. Hopefully they all stay on. But as you know, we'll probably lose 1 or 2. So we'll see. All right. Before we get started and get into the show, if you guys can please leave a like, subscribe here to Pub Sports Radio. It's much, much appreciated. Me and Weezy will be going live in 1 hour here, same spot, Pub Sports Radio, for some stat diggers. Got to catch up on. I was on a vacation, coming back and going to be getting out some shows tonight. And I think Weezy's even going live for Ask Weezy. So we got a lot of content coming up on this Wednesday here. All right, I say we get into it, guys, and we're going to kick it off with the fight to target. I'm going to kick it off because I'm going to go with the easy one here. I'm going to go with there we go. Yeah, Manuel Torres going against Nicolas Motta. We got Torres 8,900 and Nicolas Motta 7,300. So Manuel Torres is a guy that just fights like he's on crack cocaine, a guy that's going to go out there, he's going to go after it. And what I kind of noticed was he kind of toned it down a little bit. It seems like he's a little more patient, but, a little bit more patient version of Manuel Torres still fights like he's completely coked up. I think he's going to go out there. They're going to stand and bang. I don't really see either guy going out there trying to grapple. Manuel Torres, both guys have a ton of power, a ton of finishing ability. I think this fight ends in the first round. Manuel Torres, 800, I think it's solid. Nicolas Motta, 7,300 as a dog, I think is very solid. I think the winner of this fight probably gets a first round finish there. So love that fight. Gordo, what is your favorite fight target for UFC Vegas 75?
That is a great one. And honestly, I didn't expect to go second. So I got an option that's maybe a bit further down my list, but still a great one in my opinion. Let's go with Flick versus Costa. That's one of my favorite fights in the card. And mainly from a DraftKings perspective, because you got a guy in Flick who we don't know what his mental state is at. We don't know what his career is at right now. Is he here for a check? Is he here to get out of here early? All we do know is this guy is extremely dangerous early on. He has slate breaking potential at 6.8K to get a submission at any time, but he's facing a killer here in Costa, a guy who's really going to bring it to him, a guy who has very good ceiling in his own right. This is a fight that is expected to end inside the distance, and I have to agree with that. It's either going to be Flick by submission early on or Costa wearing him down, getting a finish decently early on as well, maybe second round there. Both these guys very high ceilings, and it should be a very fun fight for as long as it lasts.
Absolutely. Another one I'm really looking forward to this week. We got Monk. What is your favorite fight to target for this card?
2 great fights right there. Let's see. I'm going to give you Pat Sabatini, Lucas Almeida. This should be a score fest for the winner. I don't think the loser scores very well. It's not a cash stack type of fight whatsoever, but it's going to be Sabatini by grappling and scoring, a decent amount of points, hopefully triple digits in a win with some rinse and repeat takedowns or a ton of control time. The thing I really, really like about Pat Sabatini is when he gets you down, he is ground and pounding you. There are significant strikes. There's a ton of non-significant strikes, and those are the ones that add up. Those are the ones that get you Mackenzie Dern at 150 points because she has 100 little rabbit punches. Sorry, I just did. Oh, you good? You can't see the hand motion I just did off screen, but it was definitely a rabbit punch for sure. Take my word for it. But yeah, I love that about Sabatini. He's always scoring, constantly outscoring his opponents everywhere. And if Lucas Almeida wins, I mean, Sabatini's been chin checked before. Damon Jackson just chin checked him a little bit ago, which was completely surprising. But he's also been checked a couple of times, hasn't been knocked down per se, but has been wobbled a bit. So I like that from Almeida. First round finish is in effect for Almeida at a very cheap salary of, I believe, 7,100, which would make him optimal in a win, most likely. And Sabatini, if he wins, I'm looking for triple digits here, hoping he extends and just gets takedowns and a ton of ground and pound, guys.
Yep, I like it. Another good one there. And then last but not least, Weezy, what is your favorite fight to target this week?
Yeah, I was going to give you Almeida versus Sabatini, but like Monk just broke it down perfectly. So I'll give you Bleda versus Fernandez. I got an under 2.5 on this fight at plus 200, and then I saw it opened up everywhere else at like plus 130. So, I think that for a plus 130, let's say, which is where it's at now, that's a fight that's going to probably finish inside the distance over 40% of the time. That's a pretty good line when you see Bleda at that $9,500 salary. She's got to wrestle, and she's going to wrestle because that's what she does in all of her tape. She constantly wrestles and likes to work the grappling angle. And Fernandez is somebody that's gotten taken down and held down quite a bit in the past. We just saw it in the Jazz Davicius fight. We've even seen it a little bit on the regional scene where she'll get up later in the fight and start landing shots, but it always starts with her getting taken down. But Gabriela Fernandez has got nasty striking. And if she doesn't go away, if she doesn't fuck off, by the end of the second round, the third round, she could start, landing some big shots on Bleda and potentially getting her out of there as well. So Fernandez at 6,700, it is live for a knockout at some point in this fight. We'll see if it happens. And Bleda, even at 9,500, even in a decision win, she might get you 7 or 8 takedowns. So I think it's actually a pretty good fight to target both sides of.
There we go. Four really good fights to target there. And I think there's even some more we get to touch on as well, but I'm sure we'll touch on more throughout the show. Yeah, lots of good fights to target this week, I'd say. And there are a couple bad ones as well. Let's move on to our fight to fade. Weezy, we'll stick right with you. What is your fight to fade for this week?
I'm going to give you Arman Tsarukyan versus Joaquim Silva. And I mean, look, $9,800 for Tsarukyan. He has to be perfect in order to pay off that salary. And look, we've got a 14-fight slate. There's 13 other fights here. There are going to be some underdogs that cash. If there's underdogs that cash, they're going to probably score a lot of points. And Tsarukyan at 9,800 is somebody that you probably don't want on your card. And then with Joaquim Silva, he's a very low volume guy. He looks for a big shot on the feet. He doesn't really care if you wrestle him, but he's very good on the ground, very good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. So, but I don't think he's going to win this fight. I mean, we've seen Tsarukyan deal with that type of fighter pretty well before, and guys better than Silva. So I don't think Tsarukyan pays off his salary, and I don't think Silva does much of anything. So I think it's a good one to stay away from.
Yeah, I mean, I can't believe that this fight's even being made. But 9,800 for Armen Tsarukyan. Never seen that before. I think the most I've ever seen is like 9,600. But you were talking before the show about Paige Van Zandt back in the day, Weezy, like 11,000, something like that. So, back in the day. So
yeah,
it's a lot. It is definitely a lot for Armen Tsarukyan this week. I'll kick it to you, Monk. What fight are you fading this week?
Yeah, that's a good one. Give me Salikhov and Dalby. That's the other super easy one in my opinion. Salikhov scores like no points, under 80 on average. Let's see, where are these guys at? If I could read my own stuff here, Salikhov 6-2 in 3-round fights at the weight class, and Dalby 5-3-1. So a lot of fight time, a lot of time in the cage, and both of these guys are extremely subpar towards the lower end of the card. Like I said, less than 80 points per win for Salikhov, 74.5 for Nicolas Dalby here. Neither allows many points at all. I'm just expecting a super low type volume fight from these guys. Neither one scores 3 points a minute anywhere. Overall, at distance, inside the distance, this is all super vanilla numbers. Nobody allows anything. Nobody scores anything. It's just I'm expecting a 3-round fight, probably split decision, probably Nicolas Dalby win. I'm hoping for like a 70 to 80 point win, so I just don't have to worry about this fight at all. It's unfortunate because I do love the Dalby salary at 7K. 9,200 for Salikhov is freaking laughable. This is an insane number. Like, I understand it's odds based, but like I said, all the numbers I just read off, you're going to pay 9,200 for this guy against a guy who somehow pulls decisions out left and right for the most part. So give me Dalby for the win. But I mean, I guess at 7K, you got to have some of him, but this is overall just a big fight to fade for me.
What a disgusting fight. I'm going with. I had that one as well. I'll go with something different, though. I'm going to go with Modestas Bukauskas, Zach Pauga. I mean, I think it's just another fight that I'm really not looking forward to. I don't like either guy at all. Bukauskas, very low volume. I don't see him. I mean, I guess maybe he could finish Pauga, but 9,000, I think there's much, much better options up there. And then as far as Zach Pauga, I think I'd be more inclined to play him just due to the price, but even then, I'm like not running to, especially on a 14 fight slate, just running to play this fight at all. So, the Pauga Bukauskas fight and the Salikhov Dalby fights, I'm not going to really have this week. I'll play the other 12. Weezy, what I think we were talking about you, right?
Gordo,
what fight are you fading this week?
Yeah, you know what? You guys have mentioned my first 3, but this is a card I actually have 4 fights to fade on this one. You can make a few cases. I'm fading a bit of the Christian Leroy Duncan versus Armen Petrosyan fight. And in my eyes, when I picture this one, I see a 15-minute kickboxing affair, one that could be very entertaining, but without the wrestling or the finishes I expect, you're not really going to score that well. You're not going to have that same ceiling as people around you. So although I think this could have the makings of an interesting stylistic matchup, be a fun one, I don't really see necessarily either of them going for too many takedowns or getting a finish a lot of the time. And for that reason, I can't really go out there and roster them at 2 clip. I'm actually picking the underdog as well, but even at that, Petrosyan is content to go out there and put up some lower scores. I mean, 77 in his last win, 81 against Rodriguez in a high-paced fight. To me, there just are better fights on this card.
Yep, for sure. All right, let's move on to our fighter to fade, and I will kick this one off. It's a fight that Monk talked about. It's Muslim Salikhov, 9,200, just ridiculous for a guy that's so low volume. He's 39. He's not going to wrestle. He has power, but he's not knocking out Nicolas Dalby. If he wins this fight, it's probably a greasy split decision. And at 9,200, I don't think he pays off that price tag. So me fading Muslim Salikhov completely. I'm not going to have any of them this week. Gordo, which fighter are you fading this week?
I'm fading Modestas Bukauskas at 9K. I mean, not only is he sandwiched between some pretty high-scoring fighters with Torres below him and Pat Sabatini, but really his style is one that's content to be low volume from range. And I think that if he's going to win this fight, a lot of the time is going to be doing so. We've seen him in the past put up 51-point wins, 97-point wins in a finish. Like the guy is pretty low volume, not much mixing up in the ground as well. To me, I do think this stays on the feet and he doesn't score that well, even a win. There's better options on the slate.
Oh, I totally agree. Monk, how about you? Which fighter are you fading this week?
I will give you half of the main event. Jared Cannonier. I mean, he's the middleweight's Derek Lewis for the most part. I mean, the guy scores no points. Like both of these guys are 3-1 in 5-round middleweight fights. 2.2 points a minute is what Cannonier scores there. 2 points at distance, 2.43 inside the distance. It's like, all right, he has many more than 4 fights, sure. In his last 5 fights, he's scoring 2.07 points a minute. Well, go further than that. In his career, 15 UFC fights, 2.19 points a minute. Guys, this guy doesn't do anything. He doesn't score well ever. 84 points in 5-round middleweight fights. Has a decent floor, but we're not really looking for that at 8,200, especially on a 14-fight card. He does have fantastic takedown defense, a great strength of schedule. But man, Marvin Vettori is the complete opposite. He really shines in 5-round middleweight fights, much higher volume, doesn't give up a ton of points. And like I said, Cannonier just doesn't score any points to begin with. So give me the big fade on Jared Cannonier. It's going to be, it's not great because it's 8,200. I usually love that salary, but I'll be all over the underdog here, and I don't mind fading Cannonier at all.
All right, fading. You said the middleweight Derek Lewis.
Middleweight Derek Lewis, 2 points a minute. What are we doing here?
For sure. Weezy, which fighter are you fading this week?
Yeah, I'm going with you, Brady. I'm going with Muslim Salikhov. I mean, this is not a handsome contest, so you don't need to have this guy on your roster. He's and Nick Dalby's never been finished in his career. And Muslim's a low-volume striker who relies on landing the big shot. If he doesn't get that big shot in a finish, he's only scoring 2.31 DraftKings points per minute. At that pace, in a decision win, he scores around 65 points. So if Dalby's Danish durability holds up, and Brady, we've talked about that Danish durability in the past. Yeah, Muslim's going to be a bust at the salary of 9,200 on a 14-fight card.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so let's move on now to our favorite dog. Lots of dogs available this week. Curious to hear what you guys come up with. We'll start with you, Monk. Who is your favorite dog on the slate?
Well, what a transition. I'll give you the other half of the fight I just talked about. Marvin Vettori, really quickly. I mean, in his 4 5-round middleweight fights, almost 4 points a minute, allowing just 2.2. Inside the distance, 4.35, allowing just 1. His DraftKings points per win over his 3 wins, 135 points. This boy scored 156 against Kevin Holland. So his ceiling is the highest on the card. He also controls 95% of all the grappling time he's involved in these 5-round fights. And he has an 80 strength of schedule, the highest out of all fighters, the way I track it on the entire card. And we get him at a dog salary. Like this is the most, this is an Amanda Nunes amount of DraftKings upside. Obviously, the matchup is much closer than it was against Aldana, who shouldn't have even been in that fight. Feel like Bruce Willis.
I don't think she was
there. Shouldn't have even stepped in the ring with him if he didn't, wasn't ready like that. So it's much closer than that, but Vettori has all the upside, highest DK upside on the card at a dog price. I will take that every time. So give me Marvin Vettori, the Italian dream.
Yeah, I went with the same thing. 8,000 there for Vettori, 5-round upside. Like the volume on the feet, I think you can mix in the takedowns as well. And yeah, these scores across 5 rounds have just been crazy. And I know they're different matchups, but still, against Holland 156, against Hermanson 128, against Costa 122. So 5-round upside in a fight that I think goes 5 rounds, even in a loss. Like I think for cash, he scores very good as well. So if he can pull off that win, 8,000, I think he's a very, very good play this week. So that's my favorite underdog. He might be my highest underdog on the slate. Gordo, who's your favorite dog this week?
Yeah, you guys went with a cash play. Me, not so much. I'm taking a riskier shot here. I'm taking Lucas Almeida as my underdog this week. And of course, you have to acknowledge the grappling prowess of someone like Pat Sabatini this week. But really, Almeida's a guy who's going to be dangerous at all facets. He's a very explosive guy, good power in his hands. And against guy Sabatini, who's not only finished in his last fight, but rocked in previous bouts at 7.1K. This guy's ceiling is extremely high. I do think he has the ability to put up a slate-breaking score and a win here. And I'm not saying the win happens 100% of the time. I'm saying when he does win, it does score very well. Knockdown, finish potential. He's a very explosive guy. He will be in the fight until Sabatini puts him out cold. To me, very, very live underdog this week.
And Weezy, how about you?
It's Nick Motta. And we still don't really have any real evidence to suggest that Manuel Torres is a UFC level fighter. I mean, he looked great versus a washed up Frank Camacho. He poked Colton Anglin in the eye and then finished him after the poke because the referee didn't see it. And there's like almost no regional scene footage of this guy. Motta's a well-tested and proven product. He shares the same power that Torres does. I love the price. I love the finish upside. I already bet his money line, and I'm looking to add on the KO prop here too. Nick Motta's got crazy power. Cesar Balmaceda, I don't think has even woken up yet from the time that Nick Motta knocked him out. So I think Nick's going to outlast Torres here, and because Torres has only been out of the first round once in his career, we just don't know what he's going to look like in the second and the third. And if you look on Nick Motta's record, he's getting 2nd-round knockouts. He's getting 3rd-round knockouts. Dude, when this dude touches you, you melt. So unless you're just stupid durable like the guy in the Contender Series, that he beat 7 shades of shit out of that guy, Lowry. But Lowry never went away. But I don't know if Torres is durable like that. He's been finished in both of his losses. So, I love Nick Motta in this spot.
Yeah, I mean, I'm picking Torres, but Motta at 7,300, just a crazy price tag. Like that is somebody I'll have a ton of. Just so much upside for Motta. Like you said, this guy hits like an absolute truck. And if this fight does get extended, he's going to heavily, heavily favor him. So I think it's a good underdog there. And overall, it's going to be my favorite fight to target for sure. All right, guys, let's talk some prize picks then. A couple things sticking out to me. Curious to hear what you guys come up with. We'll kick it first to Monk. Monk, do you have anything for prize picks sticking out this week?
I do. I'm going to go an under on a fight time here. Pusha T's favorite fighter, Jimmy the Brick Flick, against Alessandro Costa. 8.5 minutes. Are we really expecting this to get out of the first round? Jimmy Flick, I mean, Costa just got manhandled by Albazi. Jimmy Flick hates to get punched, and he's a fighter. So there's no, I mean, I'd be completely shocked if this goes out of the first round, but I think 8.5 is crazy. They're giving us over 2.5 minutes into the second round. So yeah, give me the under for what should be a firefight, Costa versus Flick.
Yeah, speaking of being shocked if it gets out of the first round, I'll go with an under. I'll join you on under here. I'm going with the Manuel Torres under 6.5 fight time. He's been out of the first round once in 15 fights, and you can tell why with the way this guy fights. Both guys have a ton of power. Both guys have been finished a ton. I think this goes and finishes in the first round. So I'm taking an under as well in that fight time. Weezy, what is your prize picks play for this week?
I got to it kind of late. I don't know if I love anything yet, but there's a couple of ones that are sticking out. I'll give you Modestas Bukauskas fantasy score, 76.5. Let's take the under on that. Modestas just doesn't do much in there, you guys. He does not do much. He's not going to wrestle either, so he's not going to be getting like 6-point takedowns, 5-point submission attempts. He might stop some takedowns, and that could help. But I think that Zach Pauga might just put him up against the fence, and this might be a real greasy clinch striking battle or low volume distance striking battle, and Zach Pauga might win. So if Zach Pauga wins, it would take like Modestas Bukauskas like 5 fights to get 76 fantasy points the way he fights. So I think it's a fairly safe play. I haven't made any prize picks plays this week yet, but that's one that kind of sticks out to me.
I mean, an under fantasy score for Bukauskas, that sounds great to me. Gordo, how about you? What do you like?
Well, I was traveling this weekend. I had a layover in a state where you could actually play prize picks. So I actually have some prize picks lineups this week. And my favorite lineup, my favorite pick is going to be the Raoni Lawrence over in fantasy score. It's at 84 right now. I mean, if the guy wins, he's put up over 130 points in his win so far. I know that's Draftkings scoring still. Nonetheless, this guy averages over 7 takedowns, 15 minutes. He scores very, very well when he does win these fights. And he's sitting at around a minus 180, minus 200 price tag. It's applying him to win. I do think he gets over in this a lot of the time. It should be a decent way to get started on prize picks.
All right, I like it. I like all those this week. Let's see if we can get another 4 for 4 this week. But yeah, if you guys want to sign up on Prize Picks, I'll bring up the promo code there, Pub Sports. Check it out. Very good stuff. We talk about it weekly. It's always a good time there. All right, let's keep moving on. Then let's talk about our favorite GPP play, and we'll start with you, Monk. Who are you liking this week?
Well, I already talked about one of my favorite dogs was Marvin Vettori. He's also on this list, but I'll talk about the guy that Gordo just used for his price picks, and that is Raoni Lawrence. Pacing, this guy is an absolute machine. 4.75 in I guess all 3 of his fights are at 3-round bantamweight. I believe he's 2-1. 2-1. 4.75 points a minute overall, 4.1 at distance, which is kind of surprising. Pretty decent number there for someone I thought was pretty much a wrestler only. 4.76 points a minute inside the distance, scores 133 on average. Another great ceiling guy. However, he does give up a ton of points, so maybe this is, I know somebody mentioned it, a great fight as a whole to focus on, but I'm going with the guy who I think is going to get the win here, and that is Raoni Lawrence. Spends 68% of his total fight time, scores 68% of his total Draftkings points inside the distance, one of the highest numbers on the entire card, so you know what his game plan is. He spends 68% of his time inside the distance and controls 55% of that time. So 8,700 could end up being an incredible value play for Raoni Lawrence if he gets the win here. So give me Lawrence as one of my favorite GPP plays overall, as a price that I'd honestly expect him to be a little bit higher than this. So I think it's a good price.
Yep, I was going to go with that, but I will give something different. So I'm going to go Torres Bleda, 9,500. So this is one of the first fights I taped last week for this card, and I thought, wow, I really like Bleda in this matchup. I might think about betting her, and then I saw the line. I'm like, no, I don't want to bet her, but I still think it's a really, really good matchup for her. 9,500, it's definitely a lot, but you take a look at the matchup, and Fernandez struggles with the takedown defense. She struggles with the ground game. Great striker, but that's not going to matter when she's on her back. Bleda's going to wrestle. She's going to get takedown. She's nasty on top. And I think she can finish Fernandez and probably early as well if she gets her down. So Bleda at 9,500 is my favorite GPP play this week. Weezy, what is yours this week?
Yeah, I'm going a little bit different direction here. I'm going to go with Christian Leroy Duncan. I'm looking for upside, and I think that there's a ton of upside here. We've seen Petrosyan sparked on the regional scene in the first round, and Duncan's got really good kickboxing, unorthodox attacks. He's huge for the division. He's going to have an 8-inch reach advantage here. He's almost 5 years younger than Armen, and he's never been finished as a professional or an amateur over a 30-fight career. I love Christian to finish this fight and easily pay off his $8,600 price tag. I think he's going to shave Petrosyan's ass.
Speaking of shaving ass, I wasn't able to watch your show last night for the first time like ever, but I'm guessing it's Christian shaving ass tonight, or is somebody else?
Actually, no, man.
Oh, wow.
It's Ronnie Barcelos is who I picked, because I just think that, I don't see. I mean, maybe a banana peel gets thrown into the cage and then Barcelos slips on it, but I just don't see how Johns has got a puncher's chance, and that's about it for me.
Yeah, I mean, skill for skill, it's not even close. So, yep, I like it. And who else do we got? So, Gordo, right?
Yes, we do. You know what? Going against me, Christian Leroy Duncan, not too bad. And we talked about my favorite GPP plays. It was Lawrence as well. So I'm going to give you a different look, a fight we haven't talked about already because there are so many options. Give me Dennis Bondar as a GPP option this week. And again, maybe this is because I think people are going to be low on him due to that fight against Malcolm Gordon, and rightfully so, but I do think this guy has round 1, round 2 finish upside. And again, it's a GPP play for a reason. If you're going to come in at lower ownership, if you're going to have a high upside like that against a guy who can be taken down, against a guy who can be submitted, you're going to have upside. You're going to have the ability to pay off your salary at 7.9K. I do think he has a decent ceiling to do very, very well. With that being said, I'm with you guys on Ronnie Lawrence. He's my favorite play.
Yeah, I haven't been able to check the odds because my cruise ship did not. I don't know if it was up the Wi-Fi or not, but why is Bondar 7,900 on DraftKings, and I think he's a favorite, right?
Lots of steam on him.
Oh, okay. So we opened up as a dog?
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. All right, let's move on then to our favorite cash play. I'll kick this one off. I'm going to go with the easy option. It's Armen Tsarukyan at 9,800. Obviously very expensive, but I think he goes out there and wins. I think he's very, very safe. I think he puts up a good score, and I think he finishes Silva probably in the first round and a half. I mean, I just don't understand why this matchup's happening. But I think he goes out there, gets the win, and makes it look pretty easy. So give me Tsarukyan cash play, super safe, kind of a free square, if you will. Gordo, who's your favorite cash play this week?
Yeah, it's a guy you guys have already mentioned. Let's go with Marvin Vettori, 8K. And not only does he have a pretty high ceiling, but the guy's been pretty durable throughout the past. I do think he has a pretty high floor in here. And I think he's someone who's able to be a pretty good staple of your cash lineup. Main event, 25 minutes. He has decent volume, decent output, decent grappling as well. I think the guy's floor is up there. And although the Killer Gorilla is a terrifying guy, the brick head of Vettori beats all. And I do think he's going to be a guy who's going to be able to live off his price tag and be a good cash play for you.
And Weezy, who's your favorite cash play this week?
It's Uncle Weezy's ass shaving of the week, Brady. Hani Barcelos. I think he cruises here. I also think that there is massive finish upside for Hani. Even in the fights Hani wins by decision, with the exception of the Said Nurmagomedov fight, he's usually close to finishing the fight at some point. He's even, like the fight that he lost against Timur Valiev. I mean, he was that close to finishing that fight in the second round as well. So Ronnie can wrestle. He can get submissions. He can throw volume. He can land with power. He wins his fight however he wants, and he should pay off his salary.
Sounds good. Should shave some ass. There's probably going to be some leftover hair in the octagon after that fight. What do you say?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think it's going to be a rough day for Miles Johns, but that ass is going to be baby smooth after that fight.
Just like his head, right? I think.
Yeah, man. He's got whoever's doing that head shaving for him is a true professional. He's got a beautifully domed, shiny head there, man. That like reflects light. That's how you know it's a good shave job.
Yep, for sure. So hopefully the same guy that's shaving his hair is shaving his ass as well. All right, Monk, how about you?
Hopefully he's using the ass clippers and he doesn't have just one set of clippers. Hopefully there's 2 different clippers that we're using. I'm going to go with what you said. Those are the 3. You guys nailed it. Those are in my opinion, those are the 3 cash plays I love. It's Armen Tsarukyan overall number 1 with a bullet. I mean, he's outscoring everybody. It's not even close. He doesn't allow more than 1.5 points in any category, which is overall, at distance, or in the distance. He does worry me a bit at only 98.75 points per win in his 5 wins in 3-round lightweight fights. But he's controlling like 77% of the control time, almost an 80 strength of schedule, the second best overall on the card. My problem is I can't play much of him in GPPs because the salary is completely insane, absolutely ridiculous. Why not just make him 10K? Why not make him 10.5K? Like what are we doing here? And don't say it's because he's just going to wipe Silva's ass, whatever, shave Silva's ass. It's because, who was it? Bo Nickel was minus 2,000 against Jamie Pickett. He was 9,700. Why are we arbitrarily making this dude 9,800? Either way, rant over, play him in cash. That's really the only contest you can go with. So I like Arman Tsarukyan, best overall in cash, but the guys nailed the cash list overall.
Sounds good to me. I think we did nail it for sure. All right, let's talk some value. I think there's some good value spots sticking out this week. We'll start with you, Gordo. Who is your who's going to wipe it? EQ says in the chat. Yeah, I think so. Gordo, who's your favorite?
Wipe it. Wipe it.
For sure. Gordo, who's your favorite value play this week?
I mean, there are a ton of live dogs, but I truly think that I want to take the chance to speak about Ronnie Lawrence because I haven't already. At 8.7, man, this guy has an incredible ceiling, and I really think you could be getting value at this 8.7K price tag. I think that a guy who averages over 7 takedowns per 15 minutes is going to have the ability to go out there and put up another 130-point score, and at 8.7K, I do think there are getting some value there. Of course, Vettori, great value as well, but I already talked about him. I wanted to talk a bit about my boy Ronnie Lawrence. Should be a fun fight.
Yeah, I think Ronnie Lawrence is definitely some value there. I'm gonna go with somebody you talked about, Gordo. This salary kind of surprises me. Lucas Almeida, 7,100 in a striker versus grappler matchup. I think Pat Sabatini, sure, he could take down Almeida and control him across 3 rounds. But Almeida, he's a BJJ black belt, solid takedown defense, what I've seen. And on the feet, just a ton of power. You mentioned it. Not only has Pat Sabatini been knocked out before, but he gets hurt a lot. I really question the durability of Pat Sabatini, and that's not really something you want to question against Almeida. 7,100, I'm going to take some shots on Almeida this week. I think this fight should be lined a lot closer from a DraftKings standpoint. So liking Almeida. Weezy, who do you like as a value play this week?
Yeah, it's Marvin Vettori. You're getting 25 minutes out of this dude. And if you don't, it means he got to finish. He scores 3.21 DraftKings points per minute. And in the decision loss, that's 80.25 points, which pays off his salary. Nice safe spot for a cash lineup this week.
And Monk, who you like for cash this week?
I already gave you Tsarukyan for cash.
Oh,
you're doing value? Is this value?
Oh, value, my bad.
Let's see. I'm gonna go with, I was about to say, I don't know what's happening now. Give me Nicolas Motta for some value. If this dude wins, and I think he's got a good shot. And I really like him as an underdog here at 7,300. Seems crazy against a guy with just one UFC fight. I don't care how it went. But again, this one, not very experienced guys here. Could be anything kind of happens. But Motta, his one loss was against Jim Miller. And, whatever you think about Jim Miller, this dude is still bodying people. Like is whoever Jesse Butler is that dude. Like, I hope he's okay because, my God, he got sent to the shadow realm by a guy that's like 38 years old with Lyme disease last week. So the ultimate warrior here in Jim Miller, taking a loss to that dude is not, no shame in that at all. So I like Motta here. I think he can, if he catches Torres, puts him down early, he's going to pay off his salary big time at 7,300. When he did get a win, he scored almost 110. So the dude, he's done it before. If he can do it again, this guy's going to be optimal. So I like Motta for some value here.
Sounds good to me. All right, let's touch on our dart throw here, and let us start with you, Monk. Who is your dart throw for this week?
Give me Jimmy the Brick Flick here. Do I think he's going to win? Probably not. But what have we seen from Alessandro Costa in the UFC? I mean, both these dudes have just been, taking some big L's so far at the promotion. The stats are crazy for this fight. Both guys are getting absolutely worked on inside the distance, at pace or at distance. Overall, it is crazy. It's absolutely if Jimmy Flick can get it done here, I think he's automatically optimal at 6,800. He's going to be extremely low owned, as he should be. But this could be a super slop fest, and if that's the case, we'll definitely take a dart throw and a little bit of exposure on the underdog. So give me Jimmy Flick here.
Yep, Flick is the definition of a dart throw for sure. Weezy, who is your dart throw this week?
I'm throwing the dart at Jimmy the Brick Flick as well. When he was on the Contender Series before the Nate Smith fight and he did his fighter interview, Jimmy Flick compared his wrestling to Habib Nurmagomedov and his Brazilian jiu-jitsu to Damian Maia. So if that's true, and I'm not saying that it is, but if it's true, you guys, can you imagine what he's going to do to Alessandro Costa? And you're gonna be telling your grandchildren about the time that you got Jimmy the Brick Flick in the 6,000s a guy with wrestling like Khabib Nurmagomedov and Brazilian jiu-jitsu like Damian Maia. So, but I mean, I'm joking about that. Obviously, he did say that, but the thing is, Costa, we don't really know if he can wrestle. And the thing that we do know that Flick's going to do, he's going to get in there and wrestle, and he's taking dudes down. Solid wrestlers. He can do that early. And if you don't try to get back up and you just kind of let him work his submission game, he could potentially even get a few takedowns and win a decision here, because he's probably not submitting Costa. Costa's a BJJ black belt. He'll be pretty well equipped to deal with the submission attacks of Flick, but Flick could potentially get takedowns here and win a bunch of minutes on top because Costa doesn't show any urgency off of his back. So I think that there's a couple of different ways that this fight could go. A lot of them end up with Flick sleeping, but there are a couple of, like choose your own adventure paths here that wind up with Jimmy Flick with a lot of points. So that it's a dark throw.
Yep, I like it. I'm going to go with Gabriela Fernandez, 6,700. Interesting price tag here. Like I said, I think it's a good matchup for Bleda, but still, I mean, you can't really trust her that much. Her gas tank's very, very questionable. And I went back and watched that Fernandez versus Jazz DeVicious fight, and my goodness, like Fernandez hit Jasmine so hard. Like, I'm not sure how Jasmine ate some of those shots. Like, Fernandez hits like a truck for a female. So I think if this fight does get extended and Bleda does start gassing out again, it would not shock me at all if Fernandez goes out there and gets a late finish. So 6,700, I don't mind Fernandez as a dart throw. And I forget who's left here. Gordo, right?
Me. Yes.
My bad.
You're good, man. I'm going to take Joaquim. No, I'm just kidding. Brian dart throw, we're going to take Miles Johns, 6.9K. And I know his ass is getting shaven, but what did Weezy say his win condition was? Well, it's a puncher's chance. And I think that if Miles Johns can win this fight, it's going to become I don't want to say a fluke knockout, but it's going to become a knockout on the deteriorating chin of Barcelos. Because that's the one knock you can have in Barcelos this matchup is he's getting older. He was knocked out bad his last fight. Don't say it happens. I just say that when Johns wins, he's going to score very, very well. That's a dart throw.
That is a dart throw. All right. So what we're going to do now is, if you guys have not already, be sure to smash that like button. Let's get those likes up. Second, subscribe to Puck Sports Radio. And then if you have any comments, if you're in the chat, type those comments in, those questions, and we will get to those very shortly. We're going to go over our results from last week here. All right. Pulling them up. And in fourth, we had Monk with Amanda Nunes 140, Dan Ige 76, Blake Builder 30, Eric Anders 44, Fugit 5, and Jazz DeVicious 85, scoring 382.58. And third was Gordo, Nunes 140, Mike Malott 105, Dariush 13, Richie Long 2, Belbita 90, Steve Ursik 69, and Gordo scored 421.49. And second was me, Nunes 140, Blake Builder 30, Malott 105, Belbita 90, Oliveira 113, and Ursik 69, scoring 550.05. And then first place was Weezy, Nunes 140, Ige 76, Malott 105, Belbita 90, Oliveira 113, and Jazz DeVicious 85, scoring 611. Great lineup there, Weezy.
Yeah, that one was really good. I think that one got me $100 off of a $5 entry. So I think it was three. I think there were three other lineups that were better than that one, but that was fourth closest to being optimal. So yeah, man. I mean, it's always fun when you put in a lineup like that. And I'm looking to double that this week. I want 1,222 points out of this lineup. So I'm really looking forward to just completely getting back into this contest this week.
Let's go. Yeah. I got a little bit closer to Gordo. You got a little bit closer to Gordo, so that helps. Gordo still is up, though. Gordo has, let's see here, 8,354 DraftKings points in first place. I have 8,224 DraftKings points in second place. Weezy, you have 7,788 in third, and then Monk in fourth with 7,365. Monk is 988 behind Gordo. Weezy, you're 565 behind Gordo, and then I'm 130 behind Gordo. So Gordo, you are still in first, and we are 18 cards in.
Hey, you guys are getting close. It'll be a fun one, and this is a dangerous card, man. My lineup's either scoring 700 or 12 this week.
Oh my goodness! All right, I can't wait to hear what you got, and we'll get to that right now. Gordo, what do you have for this week?
All right. Well, we're taking the cardio king, Manuel Torres. We're taking Ronnie Lawrence, Alessandro Costa, Lucas Almeida, Dennis Bondar, and Marvin Vettori.
Oh my gosh, we have the same exact lineup, dude.
Oh well, dude, I'm telling you, it's going crazy. It's going.
How do we have the same
lineup.
line? We have
There's
the same
14 fights.
Yeah, I know it doesn't make sense. I kind of don't want to change it, but I will change it. Monk, what do you have for this week?
How did you guys pick the same lineup? That is insane.
I don't know, and I'll prove it too. Look, I have it like right up on here,
14,
all ready to go.
28 fighters, all those combinations.
Wow,
That's wild. Give me Armen Tsarukyan, Raoni Barcelos, Ronnie Lawrence, hopefully Hani Lawrence if it goes well. Marvin Vettori, Nicolas Motta, and Gabriela Fernandez.
You know what? I'm gonna keep it for now, and then I might change it later during the week. So I'll keep it for now. So me and Gordo, as of now, have the same lineup, but I'm sure it always changes. Weezy, what is your lineup for this week?
All right, I'm going with Teresa Bleda, Pat Sabatini, Project Pat. We're going with Ronnie Lawrence, Christian Leroy Duncan, Nick Motta, and Jimmy the Brick Flick.
Wow.
High upside lineup there. All right. Let's see what else we got going on here. I'm gonna see if we missed any questions, comments, or concerns. Let's see what we got in here. What is up, Victor? We got Frank in the chat. Jack, what is up, everybody? Probaholic in the chat. What is well? Marcel saying, just look at him. Yes, sir. Don't want to miss anything here. Mushroom has a question here for me. What's up, Brady? Nothing much. Just doing a show. What's up, Unk?
It's going to be a long day, Brady. And not even as long as yours, but it's going to be a long day for your Uncle Weezy. Hour on the DFS show, couple hours on Stat Diggers, and then I'm doing Ask Weezy tonight at 10 o'clock. So it's going to be like a 5-hour telethon. It's going to be pretty sweet here. And obviously the charity is stealing from the bookies.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. This one could be for Gordo. I didn't watch the fight, but yeah, what happened to Bob the Builder last week? Anything?
He succumbed to the absolute majestuous power of someone like Kyle Nelson. No, he didn't. He beat himself last week. I actually just did a show talking about how good Canadian MMA did, and I had some very good things to say about all the fighters, but Kyle Nelson really just got lucky in terms of Builder didn't want to fight. Builder was out there pressing arrows like he was playing UFC 4 to celebrate in the middle of the cage during that. So props to Nelson for getting it done, but Builder did not deliver.
I see. And this one could be for Weezy. Corey saying, whose cat is that?
Yeah, it's my girlfriend and I's cats, but it's her cat. I don't my entire family was allergic to cats. So we couldn't have cats growing up. I got the best Rottweiler in the world right back here. That's all I need, man. Cats, it's mine though, I guess.
Brady with a good question here. No one had Tsarukyan in their lineup. I tried to get him in there, but I just
Tsarukyan.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
I tried to get him in there, but I couldn't really fit him. Maybe that'll change throughout the week though. But Monk did. This one can be for Monk. Who will be under 10% owned on DK?
Probably Fernandez against Blaza.
Silva.
Probably Jimmy Flick, and definitely Joaquim Silva.
Yeah, for sure. All right, and then this one could be we'll go Gordo. How do you feel about the Barcelos being set at 86.5 fantasy points? Wow, over or under?
I'm on the over there, actually. I have I put together, they gave like a free 6-pick option, and he was one of the 6 for that over there. I do think a lot of the time he does win this fight. He does do it dominantly. I guess, like I said, the main win criteria for Johns is to knock out Barcelos, and I don't think it happens all too often. So I'll take the over there with you. I think he has the grappling and striking upside.
Yeah, 86.5 does seem low. Weez, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I like that over because Barcelos is pretty high volume. The thing is that I need to program the prize pick scoring into my database because it's different for prize picks, it's different for FanDuel, it's different for Underdog, it's different for all the different options. So until I get those numbers kind of squared away, it'll be a little bit easier for me to do those things. But yeah, I do like Barcelos to get the job done. And I think even in a decision, 86.5, he would need 66.5 points over 3 rounds. It's not out of the realm of possibility.
Not at all. No, I think if he wins, it's probably hits that. All right, so we're gonna give our quick picks and then head out of here. By the way, 61 of you in here, which has been the most we've had in a while. So thank you guys for hanging out. We do appreciate your support. We do appreciate the likes as well. And yeah, I really do. Looking forward to this card. I think it's a good card. UFC Vegas 75, very underrated card as well. Lots of good fights. All right, so let's get into our quick picks, and we will start with Gordo. Quick picks for this week.
All right, we'll start the card off with an ugly one, but we're going to take Modestas Bukauskas. We'll take Ronnie Lawrence. We will hope my page loads for the next one. I think it's Teresa Bleda. We will take Zhalgas Magulov. We'll take Dennis Bondar, Kyung-ho Kang, Alessandro Costa, Raoni Barcelos, Muslim Salikhov, Manuel Torres, Lucas Almeida, Armen Petrosyan, Joaquim Silva. No, I'm just kidding. Arman Tsarukyan and Marvin Vettori.
All right, I'm going to take Zach Pauga. I'm going to take Ronnie Lawrence. I'm going to take Bleda. I'm going to take Zumagulov, Denise Bondar, Christian Quinones, Alessandro Costa, Yanni Barcelos, Nicolas Dalby, Manuel Torres, Lucas Almeida, Christian Leroy Duncan, Armen Tsarukyan, and Marvin Vettori. Monk, what are your quick picks for this week?
It's almost exactly that. Lots of favorites this week. Pauga, Ronnie Lawrence, Teresa Bleda, ZZ Top, Carlos Hernandez, Christian Quinones, Alessandro Costa, Jaime Barcelos, Muslim Salikhov, Manuel Torres, Lucas Almeida, Christian Leroy Duncan, Armen Tsarukyan, and the Italian Dream, Marvin Vettori.
And last but not least, Weezy. What are your quick picks for this week?
I did not save mine. I'm gonna have to go back to just the tip and rewatch what I did. But I here's what I think I had. I had Cannonier by decision. I had Tsarukyan first round knockout. I had Christian Leroy Duncan second round knockout. Project Pat Sabatini by decision. Nick Motta second round knockout. Nick Dalby by decision. Denmark stand up. Hani Barcelos second round knockout. Alessandro Costa, second round knockout. Christian Quinones by decision. Carlos Fernandez by third round knockout over that fraud Dennis Bondar. We got Zhalgas Magulov by decision. I think the judges are going to love that haircut. I got Teresa Bleda to win by a second round submission, I think. I'm picking Daniel Argueta to win by decision, and I've got I think Bukauskas by decision.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, you can hear you.
I cut out for some reason. My bad. But all right, guys, we did it. So gonna kick it around. I gotta get out of here and get a coffee before Stat Digger's gonna get a nice coffee so I don't freaking just fall over sleeping. But we'll kick it to Gordo first. Gordo, let the people know about your plans for this week and any content you've already gotten out.
Yeah, well, I'm currently in the midst of editing my full card breakdown for both betting and DraftKings. That'll be out later tonight on the Plays and Fades YouTube channel. Other than that, I'll do all my content as weekly on the Daily Fan MMA channel. We're doing a lot of work there. You can check me out on Twitter as well at Gambles Gordo. Best of luck, everybody, this weekend.
All right, Monk, how about yourself?
I am super late in getting my stuff out. I'm recording Game Theory tonight, I hope, and editing it, I hope, and getting it out for tomorrow. Tons of fights this week. Everything's just pushed me back. We've got probably Salary Voodoo coming out tomorrow as well, and then Monk and Lou's Happy Hour Friday, 4:30, 5:30 Eastern. And yeah, the Unnamed Nickname Show. I'm going to try to do that again at 10 p.m. tomorrow night, unless you guys are doing a show that you're catching up on from the cruise. I'll do it at probably 10 p.m. Central Time on the Monk Maddox channel. So yeah, still a bunch of content coming down the pipe for me.
Let's go, Weezy. How about yourself?
It's been a busy week. I did the Die Hard MMA podcast with Clint on Monday. I did Probability with Lou Betya on Monday. I did Just the Tip with Uncle Weezy. That's me on Tuesday. I did this show today. I'm doing Stat Diggers in a half hour right here on Pub Sports Radio. My man DFS by the numbers. I will also be making coffee. Then tonight at 10 o'clock Central Time, Ask Weezy. Yeah, you got questions? I got answers, nephew. So all my nieces and nephews, make sure you join in. Tune us. We're going to be making some money this week. We got a lot of spots sticking out. And Brady and I are going to go over it on Pub Sports Radio on Stat Diggers. We'll finish up with any questions that you might have on Ask Weezy, and then I'm going to sleep for like 12 hours tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm right there with it. Actually, I can't sleep because I have so much stuff to do. So I will be not sleeping tomorrow. I got to get out a bunch of content tomorrow, catch up a little bit. But yeah, guys, you can follow me on Twitter, DFS_numbers, Instagram, DFS by the numbers. Catch us here on Pub Sports Radio at 8:15, 8:20 around there. Best of luck for UFC Vegas 75, and we'll talk to you soon. See you later.